Before the break, we asked, to mark Sir David Attenborough's 100th birthday, a Warwickshire farm is releasing 100 what? Was it ladybirds, curlew chicks or butterflies? They're releasing 100 butterflies. It's called the Stratford-upon-Avon Butterfly Farm. Isn't that great? 8th of May and 2 local schools taking part. And I hope we wish the butterflies well.
That's wonderful, because, when Life on Earth was first broadcast back in 1978 or 79, you saw butterflies everywhere. Now you see hardly ever.
And I have truckers call me and say when they go on long trips, they no longer have dead gnats and flies on the windscreen.
Yeah.
And that's a big dead bugs gone. Yeah.
What happened to the butterflies?
Same as what happened to the bugs, it's just, whether it's climate change, whether it's what we are doing as human beings, we are losing very, very important parts of the food chain.
We have
the animal chain.
less wild meadows, I think, we're less wild places, probably.
It's sad.
Well, it is, but we'll work a way around it. Later, we're asking if councils are right to take down flags. Have they gone up in your local area, and have you been tempted to go up a lamppost and pull it down? First, what would you do about the Channel crossing crisis? Give us a call. Today, we're expected to hit a new milestone, 200,000 arrivals in 8 years. That number is equivalent to the population of York in 8 years. Over the weekend, 800 Channel migrants reached the UK, which takes the total to 199,828. All it would take now is one more boat to arrive on British shores today, and that's it. We hit the 200,000 barrier. Labour critics say the government doesn't have control of the borders. The Tories were the first to declare a national emergency on this, and despite record numbers of arrivals, only 7,000 have been deported. 7,000 out of 200,000. So if this is a battle, we're losing it, aren't we?
Absolutely. And we need to think about why so many people want to come to the UK specifically and how we can stop people risking their lives on these boats. I think we do have a very generous offering to people who come here illegally. We need to implement a deterrent. And I think the only way realistically to do that is that we say, if you come here illegally, you will be detained and you will be deported. I think enough is enough now. Like you said, we're almost at 200,000. People have had enough.
I think we might have a clip of Nigel Farage with this. Really, what I think is an extraordinary policy. I don't think I've heard anything like this in local election before, which is he's saying we're going to detain them, we're going to put tens of thousands in detention camps, and we will place those camps in areas that voted Green.
Anyone that comes illegally into Britain on a boat or in the back of a lorry will be detained and deported. But that's going to mean having to detain quite a lot of people who were here already. They should not be free to walk the streets. The policy is very simple. You vote for a Reform MP, you will not have a detention facility in your constituency. But if you vote Green, or those that support open borders in the world, that's where the detention centres are going to be.
Is that... am I right to find that quite kind of unusual?
Yeah, it's unusual. It's not workable. And it's the kind of thing that Donald Trump and some of the Republican governors in the States were trying to do. So if there was a sanctuary city in a Democrat area, and they would send the migrants who'd come into Florida over to those cities or states. And he's trying to bring that here. But we're a nation of laws, and local councils and activists will go to court to block this from happening. When it comes to the small boat arrivals, one of the problems is that we're telling people they shouldn't come illegally, but we haven't established any alternative for the people who believe under the 1951 Geneva Convention that they have a well-founded fear of persecution. If we did have safe and legal routes, for example, in the countries neighbouring the war zone, where we had an arrangement with the local government or the UNHCR, the UN High Commission for Refugees, then we could legitimately say to people who came in across the channel, you had an alternative, you didn't use it, you're not coming in.
But can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If these are all genuine refugee claims, then why are 71 to 76% of them men?
Men perhaps are in more danger in some of those countries, like Eritrea, where every man has to go into the army, for example, and pledge their life to Isaias Afwerki, the president there. In some countries, men are at more risk.
Yeah, but I don't understand this thing of, if we have safe routes, we will not have the boats. Of course, we will have the boats of people who don't get allowed in. So
no, but then it will be much clearer, because at the moment we're telling people you can't come in, you haven't used a safe route, but there are no safe routes.
Yeah, but you
so
can't
there's no plan
stop
B.
people landing. We've been through this so many times.
Yeah.
If they're approaching the Dover shore, the Kent shore, in a small boat. What do you do if you do not want them to land? You push them?
No. You can't send them back using,
Right.
I don't know, Priti Patel's wave technology or whatever she was trying to do a few years ago.
So what would you do then?
No, you have them on board. You bring them in.
Right.
You keep them in an area. I wouldn't say you put them in prison. But you have to find some temporary accommodation for them.
Stockholm.
Well,
but then they
whatever.
could just leave.
No. And then you've got to fast track people. Particularly if they're from certain countries.
We're back where
because
we
we've got a returns agreement with Albania.
Yeah.
The number of applications from Albania has dropped by 95%.
Yeah, but that's a European country.
Yeah, no. Well, it's not in the EU. It's a Southern Balkans country. And then we could do the same with Pakistan, with India, with a number of countries which have an outsized proportion of people coming across
what about that?
which are not in war zones.
Emily,
At what point do you say that enough is enough when we've got, a cost of living crisis and illegal migration costs billions?
You can say enough is enough, but we don't...
So at what number would you say that we've
Emily,
accepted enough when we're now reaching 200,000?
You may say enough is enough, but we don't govern by gut. We govern by law.
Yeah, fine.
We've established years of law.
But they can change the law.
But of course.
Trump has done that.
Yeah, you can change the law,
Yeah.
but people can put themselves up for election. Nigel Farage is going to do so this Thursday and, of course, at the next general election. And he can put forward this policy and see if people vote for it.
But many of these people are coming... So you'd support it if we get a reform government?
No. I'm saying we
But if
have to
people
give
have voted for it?
Well, it's a government, isn't it? It's laws. But we have to give people an alternative in order to be able to say, you had another way of coming in.
Laws lag behind the situation and laws lag behind sentiment. William in Clackmannanshire, what do you think?
Good morning, Jeremy. I think this is a really easy problem to fix, and I see two options. I think option one, you turn the country into a fortress. This has been done successfully in Greece. They've built a border with Turkey. They've put tanks on that border, and they've used their navy and put them in the sea.
Well, it's a land border.
Option two,
it's a land. You can't build a border in the sea. We're discovering this.
I hear you, but they've got their navy in the sea, and Greece is a country full of islands, and so is ours. But I favour option two, and that is a complete economic reset. If we think, why are these people coming here? They're coming here because of money. So I think the solution is a brand new financial system with a currency that is global and equal, in which case they wouldn't be coming here, and we can all have a much better life at the moment.
You want to change our currency?
Countries don't have any money.
But
yes, a brand new currency and a debt jubilee, because at the moment, Jeremy, our country has a debt about 95% of GDP. In the USA, it's 100%. It's an absolute farce. We need to fix that and realize the people coming, they're not the problem. They're simply a symptom of a bigger problem. So let's have a brand new financial system. None of this deterrent business. We don't need deterrence.
Right.
Let's have incentives.
Let's move on. So lots of calls. Christopher and Kent, hi.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I've got three sort of ideas, actually, and I think the first one is as a deterrent. I mean, I think Rwanda would probably have worked, but whilst we haven't got that, I think we've got plenty of uninhabited islands around the country. We could set up Nightingale detention centres and get the message to the people that they're coming out or planning to come over that they will never get access to the mainland. That will solve a few problems in itself in terms of community tensions, etc.
Uninhabited islands I haven't heard before, because you'd have to supply them, which is quite expensive. You'd have to wire them. You've got to put plumbing in.
Well, some of them were once inhabited. I mean, there was an island off the Scilly Isles that was actually once used as a penal colony.
Okay, all right, off the Scilly Isles.
There's another one. We're giving all this money to France, and they're doing nothing, actually. I think we ought to insist on joint border control, joint controls on the beaches. I mean, we saw that image the other day, quite a distressing one, actually, of that child being separated from the parents.
Yeah.
But the boat's there. Why didn't they stop the boat?
Yeah.
Why didn't they?
All right. You've got three ideas, Christopher. What's the last one, quickly?
Final one. Okay. I think what we ought to do is to have leaflets in all the languages and people going across to the camps to explain to them that they will never be granted asylum if they arrive in the country by those means.
Okay. They may not mind that. I mean, if they're fleeing for their lives, they might not mind. Thank you, Christopher. After the break, we'll take more calls. We've got loads of people wanting to talk about this 200,000 figure we've reached now, or we are reaching this week with Channel Crossings. 0207 862 2222 is the number. See you very shortly. Before the break, we asked, an 87-year-old man from Bradford is using his TikTok fame to teach people about what we gave you. Birdwatching, littering, DIY. It is littering. Yeah, we've got to see this. So we got some of this. Let's have a look. Thomas Black, retired businessman, is essentially doing his own videos where he lectures young people about throwing things away, but they're part of it as well.
No one loves a tosser.
Tosser.
You tosser.
Top level graphics. I like that.
That's a really good ad. The only thing I will say is I don't think it's just young people that are litterers. I see many drivers throwing stuff out of their car. Obviously, you have to be over 17 for that. So,
do you think it's acceptable when you're watching a football game and you eat a bar of chocolate to put the wrapper under your seat?
I try and carry it in my pocket.
Yeah. Do you think it's okay?
No. I'm from the Keep Britain Tidy era.
Yes.
Interesting, because my mum always told me it was, but I've got to rethink. Later we'll be asking if we should scrap the tourist tax you could have to pay an additional charge when you travel within the UK. Now we're talking about small boat crossings. We're about to reach 200,000 in 8 years, and we've got on the phone Julie in Somerset. Hi, Julie.
Good morning. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, gentleman on the right, and good morning to that very pretty lady on the left who's got
You've identified us brilliantly.
Thank you.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah, and let's not even talk about the feet. What would you like to say?
I would like to say this. We are seen as the soft touch of Europe. They wouldn't be coming here in their masses, and that young lady is talking common sense. She has got her head screwed on. We need to sort it out, and we need to sort it out now. People like me, hold on, shut up, Sammy. People like me are really fed up with it because we paid taxes all our lives.
Yep.
I've finally got the date for my operation on my left knee. Okay, that money is going on hotels and whatever they do when they come here. We have to stop it. We have to stop it like the young lady.
Can you give us an idea of how, though, Julie? So you like the reform idea of just bang them up in detention centres in areas that voted Green?
That is unpleasant. You put them might of the Royal Navy in, like one of the reformed gentlemen said the other day on your programme a couple of months back, and turn them back.
Okay,
If they do
I'm going to bring Henry in here because Henry had a point to make in the last part, which I slightly glossed over.
Yeah.
Tell Julie what you told me.
Okay, about 3 years ago, there was a vessel called the Adriana, which was intercepted by the Greek authorities. They tried to tow it back out away from the Greek coast, and as a result, 600 people drowned. That was the worst case, but there have been other cases, one more recently in February this year, where 15 people drowned, again because of the activities of the Greek Coast Guard, their naval vessels, which tried to intercept, stop them getting close to Greek waters, towed them out, and ended up with all these people drowning.
So Julie, they've done the tow away thing, and it seems to be very dangerous.
Okay, it's dangerous, but they're taking a risk by getting into the boats anyway. They're taking a big risk in general anyway. And like I say, the young lady on the left has got her head screwed on. She's talking common sense. We have to do something about it.
Would you tow people away? You could do that.
I prefer the detained idea. I think when they come here,
So do I.
they go into detainment centres and then get
where?
deported.
But we haven't. There's 200,000 come and 7,000 been deported. It doesn't happen.
But that's exactly, it doesn't happen and it needs to happen, or they will just keep coming.
what if
There is
they're throwing
zero deterrent
and they're
at the
throwing
moment.
their passport away?
In fact, when you come, you might even be lucky enough to be one of the 30,000 people that gets housed in a nice hotel. Thanks,
You say
Julie.
nice hotel. I've seen pictures of the inside of these hotels. Most of them are not as nice.
Some
They
are
might claim to be
luxurious.
3-star. They're not a 3-star or 4-star.
Well, sell that to a working class mum.
And in terms of the offer, I mean, Spain, Germany, France, Italy take far more migrants and refugees, far more applications than we do. So we are not the magnet.
Yeah.
That people think.
Okay, Julie, thank you. Colin in Staffordshire, hi. Yeah. Hello, Colin. Sorry, go ahead.
Just a couple of things. First of all, the Nigel Farage issue. Adopting anything from Trump is a bad idea.
Okay.
It's got to be a bad idea. That's the first thing. The second thing is that idea itself has rather unpleasant echoes of Germany in the 1930s. That is appalling.
What, concentration camps, you mean?
Oh, yeah. But to work towards a final solution.
Well, they're not talking about murdering people, Colin, are they? I mean, is that
not at the moment? Not at the moment.
Well, you think they might? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
Emily.
I think comparing things or trying to compare reform to kind of Nazi ideas is actually very, very dangerous. So if we could not do that, that would be appreciated.
Not as dangerous as the idea itself.
All they're talking about is punishing people who have come here illegally, and also to stop the crossings, because the crossings are actually very dangerous.
Right.
People put risk to their lives. So all they're saying is that they get arrested and then deported, detained.
That brings me on to my second point. How do you stop the boats? And that is relatively easy. To go back to what the gentleman on your panel said earlier, you set up safe and legal routes, and you do that through every British embassy in Europe.
I just don't understand. When the boat comes regardless, what do you do to it, Colin?
Right, you immediately take the occupants down to Dover, you put them on a boat, and you give them 2 addresses, the nearest embassies they can go to, other than in France and
Where's that
Belgium.
boat going, out of interest, that you put them on?
They go straight back to France.
To France.
That's no different to what Reform are basically offering.
Yeah, you are. You say, because essentially that's fine if France take them, otherwise they're going to come back again, Colin.
Well, what you do is you come to an agreement with France that the people on board are then going to go to an embassy, but it won't be in France and it won't be in Belgium.
Okay, all right, Colin, thank you. All these ideas are problematic.
There are loads of ideas. Remember,
We've got
Keir
loads.
Starmer, when he put his manifesto to the country, said we're going to smash the gangs. And it hasn't gone very well. The degree of cooperation that we should be having, with the Germans especially, where many of these boats come from, and with the Turks as well, and the Albanians, is not as it should be. And that's one of the reasons why they're finding it so difficult to stop this. And I keep using this term, upstream, at source.
Yeah,
because otherwise...
Smash the gangs was a slogan, and it was always going to be harder.
Yeah, it requires incredible cooperation, incredible intelligence, and authorities in about 4 or 5 different countries to act together.
In fairness, though, when we have had an agreement, for example, with France, we've only seen 498 people removed as part of the 1 in, 1 out.
That's 1 in, 1 out. But is that France's fault? Is it not our fault for not identifying people, the proper people, and sending them?
Harry in Tyne Weir, hi.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
What would you like to say, Harry?
Right, we're a maritime nation. We've got access to a lot of reasonable-sized boats, border force, Royal Naval Reserve establishments, so on and so forth. I believe the boat people should be met somewhere in the mid-ocean, put on board. They can be given a Twix, pot noodle, cup of coffee, and then with the agreement of France, who've had a lot of money, there is a lot of French channel ports, suitable tides, suitable jetties that should be allowed to go alongside and put them back ashore in France. They should not be allowed...
Again, the French are not up... The French have basically done a secret wave of... Britain is that way. And, while... I'm not going to be critical, but they have put on the pose of helping while at the same time facilitating, a lot of people think.
Well, I think they do intercept at least 40%, 35 to 40%. Remember, the coastline that they set sail from is over 100 miles long.
I know.
You need a million officers.
If it was the other way around, we do what they're doing. But Harry, how are we going to get them to dock in France when France won't take them back?
Well, that's the issue. Our government and our government representatives haven't been able to come to a suitable agreement, and we've paid them a lot of money. We should have access to suitable French ports, of which there is a lot.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all your calls on this. Later, we'll be asking if we should scrap the tourist tax. Are you happy to pay a little extra if it helps boost British towns and cities? That's the thing. Stop the boat and give them all a Twix. So we've had every single suggestion on this show. After the break, are councils right to remove flags? Some say they're proud and patriotic. Others say they're intimidating and divisive. Where do you stand on this? 0207 862 2222 is the number you need. We'll see you after the break.